Hi everybody, just getting started here. I want to check on to see if my channel's up and running. How do you like my thumbnail? Check on, sounds like it's okay. See if my channel's... Welcome. It is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. Time to get your plants going. Time to keep, working on your plants. I'm getting more organized with my seeds. I've missed a couple opportunities that I wanted just doing this thing, but that's okay. I'll have lots of vegetables. I got time for zucchini, green beans. I've started my tomatoes. I've got just a very few of them that are about that tall. I love the jalapenos, so I'm going to do more of those. Okra. I have plenty of time for that. Watermelon, like the small ones. And cantaloupes. They didn't do so great last year, but I got them planted super late, so I'm going to start the seeds. Most seeds, like, you can go ahead and start doing now. There's a few that you got to wait, like corn, which I don't have a whole lot of room for or sun for, but cabbage and broccoli, those you hurry now, get them started if you haven't. I'm in a different zone than other people, though. You might have plenty of time to get yours started. But I'd like to try growing cabbage this year. Yes, everybody feel free to comment. Hi, Midday. Okay, I'm going to get into the news. Start talking about my garden. But it's a beautiful Wednesday. It's the sun start peeking through. I hope your day is wonderful. So it's the middle of the week, and I'm going to get into something that I've been talking to you guys about China. I was talking about this the other day, how when Trump got not into office, I'll put it like that, Nunes. I remembered it was Nunes for some reason. I think he was one of the ones that stood up, and they had a big, gigantic stack of how China was going to take over. Oh yeah, that was something else. Hey Sputsy, could you put in my Discord just that I'm going live and put a link, like at everyone for me in my Discord? Just let everybody know I'm going live. That would be so cool of you. I don't have to sit here and do it while I'm streaming. That would be so awesome. Let's see. So yeah, Nunes delivers a dire warning. This is old news, okay? This was July the 2nd, 2021, but I think a lot of people missed it because they've not been talking about it, and I just wanted to rehash it because it's important. Thank you so much, Spudsy. All right, this is U.S. lawmakers are warning that as China's open plan for global dominance plays out before our eyes, American corporations need to be aware that they are already playing an integral role in this takeover. Okay, so tomorrow they're going to be meeting on the 24th with the Economic Forum, the thing that they go to every year. So I'm going to try to get some clippage of that tomorrow. But just, going into this, let's realize that they're making the plans. They're making the plans for us, and whether they're going to crash the economy and all of this, and whether they're going to allow the yuan to take over yet, the Chinese dollar, it's called the yuan. So let's listen to this clip here. Well, I have to read it. So the next part says American consumers need to be aware as well, as this is essentially a slow motion invasion of the United States. Okay, so this is a dire warning Nunes delivered back in July. It was around the time. This one might have been after they had that stack of papers, because when I saw that stack of papers of how they were taking over, China was taking over, they didn't really put it in the news or anything. I didn't see it, but it looks like, in July, this Issa Cox brought it up or something. But I don't know if you guys heard about it. I didn't hear about it anymore. A slow motion invasion of the United States, and the sooner the populace realizes what's going on, the sooner we can actually do something about it. So our own companies, because they're conglomerate companies. On Sunday, Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee, led by ranking member Representative Devin Nunes of California, issued a memo detailing the Chinese Communist Party campaign of malign influence across a wide range of U.S. economic sectors. So we're signing up with communism through the companies in our country. This whole, global new world order. Chinese President Xi Jinping has stated that Beijing's strategic goal, becoming the dominant world economic and military leader by 2049, broadly depends on acquiring national power across multiple domains: military, technology, diplomacy, and information, the memo's introduction read. Let me read those off again. Beijing's strategic goal in becoming the dominant world economic and military leader. We used to be the military leader. Military, technology, diplomacy, and information. So they got their hands in artificial intelligence and everything. The social credit score, their armies are huge. We were talking about that last night. The technology, they've got like 70, maybe more percent of the things in the ground, the elements or the minerals or whatever it is that they pull out of the ground, silver, gold, things that, like, they have gone around the world and made deals, so they have control over a lot of resources to deal with the technology and the making of it. The Chinese government's grip on business is a powerful platform for malign influence. So they have a grip on the businesses. Beijing's control over Chinese industry and investment enables the acquisition, transfer, and theft of U.S. innovation. They steal our ideas. If you come up with a patent, you have to file it and all that. They have a way of hacking in there and getting your patent and taking your idea and Chinanizing it. That's my new word, Chinanizing it. Making it less than what you wanted it, less quality, a lesser price for it, and then it falls apart, and then you got to buy a new one. That's how China goes. That's their, Maybe they make their things nice for their elite, but they make the other stuff crap for everybody else. The steel, remember that steel bridge that just fell down last year in Florida? It was like Chinese steel, killed a bunch of people. It was like a walkway. It wasn't a bridge. It was like a walkway that went over the top of the highway or a road. The theft of U.S. innovation, the theft of technology, and the theft of intellectual property, it warned. So these are dire warnings from Nunes and other people right when Joe Biden gets in office. Isn't that lovely? We're just being taken over, sold out. Nunes told Just the News that China is executing a plan to undermine and co-opt U.S. business. Corporate America needs to understand that China is targeting them, often using lucrative access to Chinese markets as a means to acquire their technology and innovation. I'm not reading fast enough, it's going forward. And even to force them to suppress their own employees. Freedom of speech on China issues. So, this is what Nunes delivered a warning to Americans. And you might as well say the rest of the world, because they got their fingers in Australia, Canada. They got their fingers everywhere. Africa. Now, if you look right above my head, where it's got like breaking news, and then it's like going through these pictures, these are the stories that I'm going to cover today. And so there's that red truck that got in the tornado accident. I mean, it's just kind of cool, giving you a little heads up. All right, the various complexities of Chinese businesses' relations might often go over the head of the layperson, but one very simple example of how China manages to influence American corporations and consumers alike is through Hollywood, as the New York Times detailed in 2018. The amount of money to be made by distributing movies in China, where audiences absolutely love American films, is quite tempting to production companies, and they've shown themselves to be more than willing to self-censor content for the sake of having their movies approved for distribution by Beijing. So China is like owning Hollywood now. And I mean, we know that the mainstream media, their hands are tied. So this whole control is almost complete. All they gotta do now is shut off YouTube, Facebook, like anytime you were to like give a story about, telling what is actually happening in the world like this, then they just like take care of that, and then everyone gets straight propaganda, just like China, just like North Korea, where you can't even like call your mama anymore. You gotta call her a no person or something, NP, or I don't even know what that stands for. I'm just saying, like, a non-person, is that right? Like, everybody's just a non-person. We're all just, of whatever gender we choose. And I mean, I can't believe China is like allowing the whole transgender movement. I'd say they don't in their own country, but they allow that to go on in our country in order to degrade us, or, to bring us down. Just ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a big budget Hollywood action movie in which the CCP was portrayed as villainous? Movies from the Cold War era are rife with something Soviet spies and officials. It was highly thematic, relevant at the time. Birth person. Why are you saying birth person? Did I say something? My memory is like a goldfish. Oh, birth person. I get it. Okay, yeah. When they're born, you just say like a birth person. You're not going to say boy or girl when they're born. Yeah. Taxes in about an hour. Oh, you got to do taxes. Yeah. All right. But in an era when China is turning into a high-tech totalitarian dystopia right before your eyes, Hollywood is willing to forsake any plot points or imagery that might even allude to this fact, let alone willing to produce films that tell the truth about the Chinese regime. Probably why the media couldn't report all on this and let the United States know what was happening at the time, because there's all this control. In the same way, U.S. corporations tempted by China's massive customer base are willing to compromise security, intellectual property, and integrity to increase profit margins and stay on the CCP's good side, the GOP lawmakers warned. So the thing that I saw, all those papers, they were saying it's classified. But we just want to let you know that, China's taken over here, and if we don't do something quick, we're going to lose this and that. I mean, I don't remember their exact words, but, just in my own opinion, sovereignty comes to mind. Like, but that's like the agenda of the whole New World Order is, have a complete control. The House Intelligence Committee memo, that might have been what I saw, was the House Intelligence Committee. The CCP seeks to manipulate American business and financial leaders to facilitate its strategic objectives. Specifically, it entices or coerces collaboration with U.S. entities to acquire intellectual property, technology, and assistance for China-based entities. And we know that they are involved in the, because, it started over there, and then I think that's a whole thing. Like, it's multifaceted. You got so many reasons, but I see, like, later in, like, few years down the road, we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, they got everybody's DNA. Oh my gosh, they can send a drone with the individual person targeting DNA and frequency or whatever they're putting in you, to just like use that drone. Like, we'll look back like this, think, why didn't we understand? We had all these movies that were sci-fi and we didn't understand what they were doing. Man, like, population is really not thinking critically. We're going to be kicking ourselves that we censored someone, or that we said, oh, you're thinking way too conspiratorial or something. Like, wow, you've really gone off the deep end. We're going to be like, oh my gosh, they didn't go deep enough. This is it's way worse than what these lawmakers are even allowed to tell us, where they have to keep it confidential and in the back room where no one is allowed to see it. Like, they've been doing our bills and everything that way. Like, you have to sign it before you can read it. And it's like this, do it in 24 hours. And you got this many papers for your lawyers to read all within, 24 hours. And it doesn't there's no possible way to do it. It's a setup. All of it's a setup. And then you get, like Trump in there, and maybe he got some of that. Look at the stack of papers behind these words. Like, it's like showing you these are books of things that in every aspect of business and society and militarily and all this, like, you can imagine the stack of papers that's behind this story right here. In technology, military, every type of business that's out there, how they're going to replace them. And it's all going to be under like two companies, and everyone else is like now not their own company anymore. They're just under these two companies. Maybe they allow one more up there so it's not a monopoly. Or, I mean, shouldn't they have a rule? I know they have one for monopoly, but shouldn't they have one for what would you call that? A duopoly? Triopoly? I mean, we need at least in every type of business, this is capitalism, I guess, competition. 3, 4, 5 businesses at least for every, product, service. I'm getting kind of deep here. All right. These companies have been receiving guidance and direction from Chinese officials to influence business operations, investment strategy, and strategic directions, and have halted our changed business initiatives strategy due to concerns of Chinese opposition, resulting in self-censorship, the memo detailed. So you either, go with what the Chinese want, or they put you out of business. That's just the mob. That's the mob of the world. Every country doing it. Sad, man. We're all slaves already, and we don't even know it. Meanwhile, businesses subject to this degree of influence from China in turn seek to influence public policy in Beijing's favor, the lawmakers explained. The CCP influences U.S. industry and financial leaders to pressure local, state, and federal executives and legislators to actions that benefit Beijing. See, so when you're watching C-SPAN or PBS and you see them sitting in that big Congress room, watch how they set a Chinese person right behind the person who's going to be doing the talking, just to mob over them, over their shoulder. Make sure they're in line. Maybe they've already got that wristband hooked up to them, like the metaverse we looked at yesterday, where they got like a little pain zap going on. Oh, you get out of line. Oh, zap. We get you back in line. There was Mark Zuckerberg right there. He's like kissing the boot of China. All right, so that was my opening story. I hope you enjoyed it, because you're probably not going to hear that on the internet. Who knows if I'm allowed to talk about China? I mean, if you can talk about China right now, you ain't going to be talking about them for very much longer. So we might as well tell the few people that will listen. Okay. Poland. Okay, this is their flag. See this? So kind of get a mental image. I didn't take a screenshot of Poland, but we should do that. Let's just do that. Because Poland's coming into the picture now. So is Belarus. Poland flag. We might have to use that one later. Okay. Where was I? Poland. Okay. Poland expels dozens of Russians pretending to be diplomats. I'm not sure if I tweeted this or not. Just kind of came across this one. I haven't looked at Drudge. Maybe the Drudge has something about it, but I meant to look at Drudge, but I just had so much stuff that I didn't. I can't do it all. There's probably a lot more on Drudge that I'm not seeing. Poland has expelled dozens of Russians who were pretending to be diplomats, the country's interior minister announced Wednesday. They expelled 45 Russian spies pretending to be diplomats in Poland. So I thought you guys might want to know about that. And there's their flag. Before we get started in some really great stuff, I'm going to go down one or two here, because here's the piano guy. The piano man playing a song for you on a Wednesday afternoon. And we're all in the mood for a melody. Now I'm feeling alright. Thank you, Sputsy. I read your comment there. Alright, Sputsy. I'm going to give you something to laugh about if you're able. I'll play it. I'll play it right now, and then I'll play it at the end. This is someone who probably watches Alex Jones. I'm just saying. Oh, I had such a great laugh. I was like, I'm going on just because I got this great thing to show you guys. Oh man, this one's good too. With Marsha Blackburn. She's Tennessee. And she has her little pick at a little, questioning of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, this like way left, liberal, doesn't even know what a woman is. Oh, I gotta find that. Oh, I can't wait to play Marsha Blackburn. You'll be so glad if you voted for her. Okay, I'm almost there. Assange is getting married. Here he is. Here's his wife. That's a quick story. That's maybe his kids. Assange finally allowed to marry as he continues to fight extradition and a 175-year sentence simply for publishing truthful information. All major press freedom and civil liberty groups have condemned his prosecution as a grave threat to press freedom. She's really pretty. Ooh, why does she have those flowers in her bosom like that? Itchy, itchy. Ooh, I hope it's part of the dress. Sorry, why did they put their boys in skirts? I guess it's something to do with Sweden or wherever he's from. Is that like her bouquet? Ew. That's not part of her dress. She just stuck those in her breast like that. Because she didn't have a hand. She's like, let me just set them right in here while I take a picture. Oh no. Really? I'm sorry. That was mean of me to point that out. I'm dressing their boys in a purple skirt. Maybe they're Scottish or something. All right, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked on that one. Okay. I'm gonna find this. I'm almost to it. I got some good stuff to show you. That it? No. Here it is. All right, I'm gonna play it now, and then I'll play it again at the end. Okay? It's. I wonder if my volume's way down. Let me see. It's at 10. I'll turn it up just a bit for myself. I'll turn it all the way up for you. Let me see if that's too loud.
War with Ukraine and Russia.
Is that too loud for you? Okay, here we go.
War with Ukraine and Russia. If we had a nuclear war, it would be worth it if it could just save one life. Imagine living in a world where people would simply silence denying racist, transphobic, xenophobic, misogynistic bigots, where people actually supported democracy and took on their social responsibility. The only way to fight for our democracy is to get vaccinated while supporting Ukraine in the fight. And that is your social responsibility. Everybody. One of the people I look up to, who I've begun to love, is Klaus Schwab. And he said by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. And I stand with him because I am not selfish. And those who stand against it are selfish. My closing statement, my only regret is that I didn't stop Breonna Taylor's killers. I still remember like it was yesterday. I was shopping at Target in the Pride section looking for a shirt for my 6-year-old openly gay transgender nephew after I got off work at Starbucks where I'm a barista. But at least I know that I was helping the LGBTQ community while Breonna Taylor was killed. Every night I lay on my pillow and I pray that Dr. Fauci will make a vaccine for white supremacy. I hate myself!
Thank you. That's your time. Appreciate it. Well,
I'm gonna take a knee for George Floyd.
Taking a knee
could
for
you
George
do that over there so we
Floyd.
can get the next person? Thank you. Okay. If we could, so we'll take like a 5-minute break and wipe all that down. So it's 8:13. We'll be back.
Oh man, you know, if we do have people that are willing to stand up like that and get kicked out or whatever, you know that even though they kick them out and they're never allowed to come back, probably these guys up here, they've been bored for years. Did you see the look on his face? He was cracking up. He was trying to keep a straight face, but he might need to be hospitalized, right? No, I think surely that's not real, right? I mean, I guess there are people out there like that, but are they willing to stand up to a podium? No. I think it takes like someone who watches Alex Jones, and it's like, I guess you would call it satirical or something. It takes somebody with guts. It takes a man to get up there and do that and come up with a skit like that other guy the other day. So, you know, if it is real, I won't call him a hero. But if it's fake and he's just doing it to make a point, then he's a hero. All right, so we got Julian Assange. Here's another picture. Oh my gosh, she's still wearing it. She's got a different bouquet. She's got those flowers in her chest area. Oh, that would be itchy. Ooh, that would dry. I couldn't do that. Maybe it's got some sort of material or something, and then like the flowers cover up the material. And she just wanted to fancy up her dress. I think her dress is beautiful without that. Anyway, I'm not trying to be judgmental. This is the truck of the guy that I played yesterday, of his truck in the tornado, where it gets tipped over and then it starts spinning around, and then the tornado picks his truck back up and sets it back on all four wheels. I was like, wow, that was incredible. So I wanted to see the scratches and everything, but I just I couldn't believe it when I saw the the aftermath of it today. I was like, yes, because that's what I would have wanted, is to get a after picture of that truck. So there it is, scratched up real good by the tornado. Signed its name, scratched its name on that guy's truck. That's gonna be a famous truck right there. What kind of truck is that, Midday? I bet you know. Is it a Ford? Is it a Chevy? All right. Okay, I have these in no particular order. They're just in order of how I found them, so it'll be back and forth with the war, okay? NATO, up to 40,000 Russian troops have been killed, wounded, taken prisoner, or missing in Ukraine. I think the reason why... Oh, Chevy. Awesome. I think the reason why that there's so many killed is because of the drones, because of the weapons that they already had in there, because of the mercenaries, or whatever you call them, the well-trained people, that they knew this was coming for a long time, and they got people positioned in there that have a lot of experience. So then Russia goes out and gets experienced Syrian fighters, probably ones we trained. Hezbollah, which Iran funds with the Revolutionary Guard, and then United States they were talking about making them taking them off the list of terrorist organizations. I don't know why we would do that, except for that it's part of the Iran war that's coming with probably Israel. But Russia and Iran are friends. I think China and Iran are friends. I think Turkey's involved in there. This is about the Gog-Magog war at the end, where these people are already lined up to be friends together. Okay, there's that guy. That was so freaking funny. All right, Ukraine's chief rabbi. I want to keep an eye on this right here, because knowing that this guy is like Jewish and that he hangs out with rabbis. I guess a lot of people hang out with rabbis, but it says Ukraine's chief rabbi Yakov Dovblik responds to Russian rabbi. Russians are killing women and children. No one asked Russia to denazify us as a country. Just keeping an eye on these people. All right. And then here's Putin with a probably, he looks like a Jew to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like with the beard, and you don't see the little twirly things on their, they have these little twirly things that come down. Might just be on the young people that they have those. That guy didn't have it. And those might be like Sephardic Jews or something. There's like this guy's Ashkenazi. So this one's like a Nazi right here. Oh, it says non-Nazi, non-Ashkenazi. Okay. Influenced Russia Rabbi Alexander Boroda, a non-Ashkenazi Russian Jews, therefore not his Jewishness is not confirmed, supports Putin's denazification of Ukraine, claiming that neo-Nazism was deeply ingrained in the country. And today on Alex Jones's show, they have like a whole pile of mainstream media reports about how the Nazis are in power in Ukraine. And he was wearing that Iron Cross the other day. Zelensky was. Just pointing some things out, you know, that I've heard. You know, anybody who disagrees can go look at their own resources and believe the narrative. There's a couple different narratives out there, so you know.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, this I want to just play a minute of this somewhere in here. There's 4 Disney employees that are arrested in Polk County. Human trafficking. Over 100 people were arrested by Polk County's Sheriff's Office during Operation March Sadness number 2. One day when I was at the theme park here, I was talking to a little girl that was next to me. She might have been like 8 or 9 years old. She knew all about this, about how Disney World or Land, whatever it is in Florida, how people go missing there all the time. I was like, oh, wow. That's, like, she was smart, man. Like,
involved in
most
this because
kids
it's
don't
important
pay
and
attention or
because
know about those things.
The victims of human trafficking and the sex business deserve our help and need our help. So we're glad to be a part of it. We're glad to
look at the picture over there.
Of kids
bunch
and,
of suspects,
victims in these cases, and we're happy to be a part of taking people off the street that are dangerous to your kids in the community. So thanks for the opportunity, Sheriff, to work with you, and it's always a pleasure.
Good morning. Same as Chief Ray, we do appreciate the Sheriff always asking us to come over and participate in these events. It's not hard for us to find volunteers, even though it's a lot of hard work and hours, but we always have plenty of detectives, just like the detectives from all the other agencies. They're great people. They come out here to work hard. And as you can see, this is not one city that it's an issue at, it's across the county and people coming into our county. So we have to keep this up and make sure we protect these victims. Thank you.
So they're doing their job, sounds like.
Good morning, everybody. So as the sheriff said, I believe we got 4 actual predators this time, and no matter how long these events take place, I don't know how long it's going to take before people understand that Polk County is not going to tolerate it. So just one predator would have been worth the event. So I just want to thank the sheriff. He's always asking for additional help, and I want to thank him. Thank you for having us there, and we will continue to do these events. I'm confident of that. So thank you.
Okay, so I just want to applaud them. Good job. Good job for getting some predators that are real predators off the street. Okay? Thank you for doing your job, and I pray for your police department that they stay safe in Jesus' name, and just keep doing what's right. That's all we can ask of our police officers, and thank them for their duty. Thank you for doing your duty. And I would say the same thing about the judges and attorneys, but I don't see them on video when they do right, but most of them do wrong. So let's be doing right. Okay? Let's everybody do right. That's the way to be. And then you'll get your treasure in heaven. You might get, really treated badly for doing what's right now. But when you get in heaven, everything will be right, right, right. Right as rain. Clear, clean rain up there. Ukraine OSA Air Defense System, TELAR, relate. Oh, no, wait. Rallet. I was just looking at it backwards just to see if it said anything. Firing on a target reportedly from yesterday. So this is just a defense system that they have. It doesn't really look like it's all that great. Watch how it goes. Zoing, 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 zoing. Is it writing out someone's name in Arabic or something? I don't know. It looks kind of like, I mean, it's not like the Iron Dome. You guys spent trillions of dollars or billions of dollars to send over there. They should have some good defense equipment. But the Telar, I don't know. Does it even work? Maybe. Alright, we got chicken pox back, you guys. I don't know what that just sent me to, but right here you see. Chickenpox outbreak prompts calls for vaccination. I just want to say, if you've never had the chickenpox, before you go get a vaccination that could have some sort of preservatives, we'll say, in it that aren't good for you, check to make sure that you're not already immune, because you might be immune to chickenpox. And if you're immune to chickenpox, you could also find it, like, you can find that out. I'm just saying, before you go get that. All right, this is some aftermath of Louisiana, guys. Somebody's got a drone. Oh, it was one of those cherry trees. Look, it's pink. How beautiful. The tree survived. But the houses, oh, look at that. Just, their stuff is just all over the place. Wow. Isn't it amazing how tornadoes will go and they'll take parts of this house, and then that house will be intact. I learned that from the Twister movie where, look, there's a roof over here. Isn't that amazing? Pray for the people that are in these areas that got tornadoes. Let me see if I have any more tornado footage, okay? I kind of wanted to... Yeah, here's another one in Louisiana. See the foundation? It moved it. It was over here, and it set the whole house over here. Lifted off the center block, moved north-northwest. The house across the street leveled. Debris traveled north-northwest. This is the center of the tornado, northwest side of Arabe, Louisiana. I think I have a couple of tornado ones with the actual twister that went through Louisiana. That one's Dabu. I don't know if Dabu would appreciate me playing his video or not. I'm trying to stay away from playing people's YouTube videos unless it's like a actual, like, you know, mainstream news. I think it's okay if you play a clip, but I really like Dabu. Be nice. I should ask permission. I know I had one of the tornado. Okay, here's something. destructive tornado coming into Summerdale, Alabama right now. This was 15 hours ago. So there were Alabama tornadoes too. Here it is. Incredible video of tornado in Chalmette, Louisiana, taken by local Preston Trahan. Start over. There you go. The quality was better. Can't complain. Got that coming towards you. You're not gonna like, let me clean my screen. You're gonna be like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. You guys ever been in a tornado? I saw one coming and like 3 of them like forming, but they didn't look that big when I saw them. They did later though. Okay. Do I have any more of the tornado? Oh yeah, here's one. New Orleans. This is the one you'll probably see on the regular media because it's got, you can tell, it's got this little thing right here. There's a whole bunch of them that show this. It's another tornado, I think. Like coming off the side of it. Isn't that wild? Look how the screen of his TV like makes it have eyeballs because of the lights behind him. Looks like an entity or something. That's scary. Look at all the houses and everything right next to each other, and a lot of damage last night. Here was another one with a picture of it. So they had some damage. Okay, let me go back up. Okay, this lady. We'll take care of this lady next because this is kind of a, you know, I wanted to show you a couple of clips from it. Is this it? Oh, they're not going to let me use that. Whatever. Oh, Zelensky tells Israeli government, you can mediate, but not between good and evil. I don't know what he means by that, but in address to Israeli lawmakers, Zelensky evokes the Holocaust, accuses Putin of plotting, blah, blah, blah. 3 days ago. So, this one was 3 days ago. I don't know what I was looking for there, but Putin discusses Ukraine with Israeli Prime Minister Bennett. So they're wanting to Zelensky's wanting to meet in Israel and let Israel mediate between Russia and Ukraine in Israel. So I think this has to do with that underground, there's like a place for a council that replaces the UN. It's the Sanhedrin of the old days where there'll be, I think it's 72 nations. They've got seats already put up, and it goes in a circle like the UN, where everybody can kind of, be tilted inward towards each other and see each other, and it's kind of like they're at a round table, but they're all just seated, and then there is a round table where the main, I guess, leaders, or maybe the Sanhedrin sits at the main table. So I think it has to do with that. They want Israel to be involved in these political decisions in the future. It's going to be part of the Antichrist system. Okay, I've got this one with this lady, and then I've got one with Marcia. Let's find Marsha. Marsha Blackburn. We'll play her first. Marsha Blackburn. Where is she? Here, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. Sorry. Just had so much today. Here she is. Okay, so this one
and Americans need a Supreme Court
5
justice.
minutes, but you are gonna love this, you guys. What's going on today? Vijay, you can just look up above me and there's pictures of what I'm covering. There's a pretty good amount today going on. But this is, I don't know what country you're in, but this right here is about the United States. This is a Supreme Court pick from Biden. So our Supreme Court makes rules or laws, you know, or they deliberate on the laws that are there and they make a decision in court cases that get all the way to the Supreme Court. And those people, they usually don't ever leave that office until they're dead. Okay, and Biden has a chance to put someone in. Also, Clarence Thomas. Let's check on him. He was in the hospital all weekend. See if he's out of the hospital yet. 2 hours ago, he was absent from the Supreme Court for the 3rd day following hospitalization. He's still in the hospital. Oh, they love to kick you out of the hospital if you're sick, too. Of course, he is a Supreme Court, so they should take extra measures. They might just be keeping him because, you know, he's a very important person. So, yeah, for 3 days now, he's been in the hospital. And if he dies, then it'll be, right now it's 3-6. 6 being conservative, 3 being, like, I guess, left or liberal or something. So, there's the lady that we're getting ready to look at now. And then if he dies, if there's one more, we could lose having righteous judging going on in our country you'll see, to this degree. Listen to what Marsha says.
Americans need a Supreme Court justice who will protect our children and will defend parents' constitutional right to decide what is best for their own kids. And here we need a little clarity. At a time when these parental rights appear to be under assault by the radical left, your public comments about, and I'm going to quote you, the transformative power of progressive education, end quote. These are deeply concerning. You serve on the board of a school that teaches kindergartners, 5-year-old children, that they can choose their gender and teaches them about so-called white privilege. This school has hosted an organization called Woke Kindergarten and pushes an anti-racist education program for white families. Your public endorsement of this type progressive indoctrination of our children causes one great concern when it comes to how you may rule on cases involving parental rights. Parents also know that it's only a matter of time before we have the next pandemic, and they're concerned about more mask mandates or lockdowns from unelected bureaucrats that would harm their children's mental health and stunt their development. The American people want a Supreme Court justice who will protect their families' freedoms, not allow government overreach into private family decisions. Now, moms that I'm speaking with raise the issue of crime, and you've consistently called for greater freedom for hardened criminals. At the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, you advocated, and again I quote, for each and every criminal defendant in the D.C. Department of Corrections custody should be released. That would have been 1,500 criminals back on the street if you had had your way. And you use the COVID-19 pandemic as justification to release a fentanyl drug dealer, a bank robber addicted to heroin, and a convict who murdered a U.S. Marshal into our communities. But your efforts to protect convicts began long before the pandemic. You used your time and talent not to serve our nation's veterans or other vulnerable groups, but to provide free legal services to help terrorists get out of Gitmo and go back to the fight. You also have a consistent pattern of giving child porn offenders lighter sentences. On average, you sentence child porn defendants to over 5 years below the minimum sentence recommended by the sentencing guidelines. And you have stated publicly that it is a mistake to assume that child pornography offenders are pedophiles. Your philosophy, it appears, is backward on these issues, restrictions on children and families and freedom for criminals. In fact, your philosophy, or lack thereof, may be the root of the problem here. I was concerned during our conversation earlier this month when you told me that you really didn't have a judicial philosophy. The American people deserve a Supreme Court justice with a documented commitment to the text of the Constitution and the rule of law, not a judicial activist who will attempt to make policy from the bench. Without a judicial philosophy, a judge is legally adrift and will be inclined to consider policy rather than law. You once wrote that every judge has, and I quote, personal hidden agendas, end quote, then influence how they decide cases. So I can only wonder, what's your hidden agenda? Is it to let violent criminals, cop killers, and child predators back to the streets? Is it to restrict parental rights and expand government's reach into our schools and our private family decisions? Is it to support the radical left's attempt to pack the Supreme Court? You have praised the 1619 Project, which argues the U.S. is a fundamentally racist country, and you have made clear that you believe judges must consider critical race theory when deciding how to sentence criminal defendants. Is it your personal hidden agenda to incorporate critical race theory into our legal system? These are answers that the American people need to know. So we are going to look at past statements and decisions and seek clarification from this committee before we make our decisions.
Wow, right? Oh my gosh. Isn't that crazy? Oh. So if we get, one more like her and then another one like her, like the country's going to go in the toilet.
And Americans need a...
I love this lady though, Marsh Blackburn. All right, let's see. Where's the other one I was going to play you? Oh, right here. Okay, so this is her actually getting to talk. It's only 2 minutes. The other one was 5, so.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson on the second day of her confirmation hearings, attempting to portray Democratic President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee as soft on crime.
Does the United States need more or fewer police?
Senator, the determination about whether there should be more or fewer police is a policy decision by another branch of government. It is not something that judges have control over, and I will stay in my lane in terms of the kinds of things that are properly in the judicial branch.
Several Republicans focused their questioning on child pornography, accusing Jackson of giving lenient sentences to offenders, which the judge denied.
I take these cases very seriously as a mother, as someone who, as a judge, has to review the actual evidence in these cases, and in every case, I did my duty to hold the defendants accountable in light of the evidence and the information that was presented to me.
How do you think Democrats, meanwhile, sought to underline the historic nature of Jackson's nomination. If confirmed, she would be not only the first Black woman, but also the first public defender to serve on the Supreme Court. Jackson was named to succeed liberal Justice Stephen Breyer, and while her confirmation would not change the court's conservative majority, it would freshen the court's liberal wing with the justice young enough at age 51 to serve for decades.
51. She's 51 years old. All right, so somewhere there's a clip of her where she says she doesn't know whether a woman, she doesn't know how to define a woman. I'd love to find that clip. Let's see. Critical race theory was Cruz. Graham asked her to rate religious faith on a scale of 1 to 10. Romney ridicules off-course attacks from Republicans. Romney's son is working with Joe Biden's son at some gas company with a bunch of corruption. So him telling me that Republicans are off course, I think you're off course, Romney, with your son. Your son's off course. Let's get some investigations into this this gas company or oil company or whatever you want to call it in Ukraine. I don't see the one though where she, let me see if I can find it. Maybe somebody uploaded it on YouTube. Jackson questioned about what is a woman. I saw Joe Biden there with some underwear. This is a really long thing, you know. So here's where she's talking about transgender. That might be where it's at. I'd love to hear the context of the question and all of that, because it was just short, and you know, you'd like to hear the whole story. Maybe it's about the transgender thing. Let's check. I'll just check, because it's only 1:28.
The right of a transgender woman to compete in women's sports. Do you think Congress, the people ought to get to decide that through Congress, or the judge can just find it as an unenumerated right, a penumbra of the Constitution?
Well, Senator, that the topic that you raised is something that is, as you say, a hot topic today, and could certainly be litigated. So I'm not in a position to say more about whether or not it's actually one of the unenumerated rights.
Well, I don't want to ask you how you'd rule, but would you have any problem saying, okay, if that case that is litigated, saying this is a political question? Whoa, stop! I'm staying in my lane. Congress needs to decide this case. The people need to decide that through their elected representatives.
Well,
would that be?
Well, respectfully, Senator, that is a decision. In other words, you say, I'm not asking you to decide it, but in every case, the determination about whether or not something is a political question or whether or not the court has or has not jurisdiction is an issue for judges, and so I'm not able to speak to it.
Okay. All right, well, that wasn't it, but somewhere somebody asked her, what is a woman? How do you define a woman? And she said, I can't answer that. I don't know where the clip is, but wish I could get it on here while we're talking about it, but I'm not going to waste any more time with it. All right, let's go back to where we were and see what else I got here. All right, we got Julian Assange. We got people pretending to be diplomats in Poland. Poland is expelling dozens of Russians. This I cannot play, but you should go over to their site and go watch it, because it's very important. That's all I can say about that. Storm damaged equipment and load oil. What do you know? We got some damaged equipment caused by a storm at Novorossiysk port. So just, pay attention to what's going on with storms taking out strategic things. All right, Zelensky has topped the list of Europe's 28 most powerful people, winning the Audience of Choice poll by Politico. One voter describes the Ukrainian leader as a beacon of hope, striving for peace, democracy, and decency. Go watch the YouTube video with Zelensky in red high heels and tell me if that's decent in your view. Taliban shut down the girls' school today in Afghanistan. Was there some sort of fighting going on? Why did they shut it down? Okay. Russia plans to switch its gas sales to unfriendly countries to rubles. So if you're unfriendly to Russia, we're no longer going to use petrodollar. We're going to use rubles. President Vladimir Putin said that, responding to a freeze on the country's assets by foreign nations over events in Ukraine that he said had destroyed Moscow's trust. So they're playing with the money. They're going to do a whole thing with this money. You watch, your money's not going to be worth much next year. Former Trump advisor Paul Manafort was removed from a plane at Miami International Airport before it took off for Dubai because he carried a revoked passport. Why is an attorney, I think that's who he is, an advisor to Trump, was an advisor to Trump. He's all caught up in that whole Ukraine thing too, just saying. So they revoked his passport. And so he tried to get on a plane, but they wouldn't let him. Alright. This is just funny. A little break. Ack. I wish I could do it better. I don't know what they say, like, we're your friend. We're your friend. We're here for you. We come in peace. Oh, wait. Somebody might have put it. Hold on. Is this? Oh, I can't. It's not doing it. I can make it bigger. I wish somebody put over here the one where they did it. Everybody's just laughing. Ack. Alright, so let me get this back to normal here. Okay. Russia uses white phosphorus. This is chemical bomb. In Hostomel and Irpin. They're saying that they used some chemical weapons, guys. Russian forces targeted Kyiv suburbs with phosphorus bombs on the night of March 22nd, yesterday. According to Irpin Mayor Alexander Markashin, the use of such weapons is used against civilians is banned by the Geneva Conventions. So last night we were talking about, how long till, we know or whatever if NATO's going to go into Ukraine, if it's going to be World War III, whether the NATO goes in. And I mean, as slow as things kind of go sometimes, I was like, I give it 6 months, but really in the back of my head, I'm thinking, this could pop off tomorrow. Like, we don't know. It could be any day. This is yesterday. They used chemical weapons. All they got to do is meet together one day, decide on it, and then the next day, bam. And they're not going to tell us. It could be tomorrow. Could be today. Today's the 23rd. So if this is against the article, I think they call it Article 5. Is Segway here? Oh, hey, Segway. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, but, yeah, we could go in with NATO. They're ready. They got the troops there. They're all ready to go in. As soon as the Article 5 is declared, yep, they went against Article 5. And I think one of those Article 5 is the chemical weapons would be a reason for them to go in. Or maybe even a cyber attack. They could, decide to go in for a cyber attack if the cyber attack was big enough or whatever, and they could really have proof. All right, so this is remember I was telling you sorry about that. Wake up. Remember I was telling you that they're talking about making the IRGC part off of the blacklist, off of the terror list. It says, considering the fact Biden is weighing delisting the Iranian National Guard from the State Department's terror blacklist, this is a good video, explaining why the IRGC should remain designated as a foreign terrorist organization. So this is a minute long, but I've got it muted because it's just, the music. This is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran. It's fundamentalist. Sorry. Its fundamentalist goal is spreading radical ideology throughout the Middle East by providing funding, training, and weapons to its terrorist proxies, like the Taliban, Hezbollah, that's Lebanon, Hamas, that's Gaza, and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Iran has proxies spreading terror across Iraq, Azerbaijan, Afghanistan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Syria, India, Yemen, Israel, Lebanon, Turkey, Austria, Germany, the United States, Mexico, and Argentina. The IRGC has military control over Iranian banking, construction, and energy. So if we take them off of the terrorist list, don't you think these other Middle East countries are going to be really ticked off? And we're going to sanction you for taking them off the terrorist list, or who knows what. We're not going to be your friend anymore if you take them off the terrorist list. Allowing Iran to create and invest in the Iranian nuclear program, terror training camps for foreign mercenaries, and ongoing terror worldwide, while still oppressing its own people. All of Hezbollah's budget, expenses, wages, food, drink, weapons, rockets, are all supplied by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is the armed wing of the fundamentalist Iranian regime. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is a brutal military breeding terror. So the Bible does talk about Iran being Edom, and that they're going to be like leveled like Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, I'm not going to read this, but I'll just like put it up here, and if you want to pause it and read it. I'm not going to go into all of that, but it's just, it's pretty. I put the top 3 important information here. Here's another 28 seconds.
Do you have concerns that Venezuela runs the risk of turning into a no man's land, where you have these bad actors, including some with links to Hezbollah, that could be more of a threat because they're in our hemisphere?
Yeah, Trish, I'm glad you brought that up. People don't recognize that Hezbollah has active cells. The Iranians are impacting the people of Venezuela and throughout South America. We have an obligation to take down that risk for America.
Do you have concerns that...
Okay, so Iran has proxies all over the world. There are cells that are in probably every city of America and all those places that you just saw. And they're just waiting for the day that they're given the order for their jihad. And that'll be, I think, that'll begin. I mean, they're already practicing on the Ukrainians right now. Hezbollah, the Chechens, what was the other? Syrians, terrorists, or, jihadis. And then there's something going on in Kazakhstan, because Russia was in there when they were trying to, Kazakhstanians, or whatever they're called, were trying to take over the government. Russia went in, tried to get control of it all. They shut down the internet. Then Russia left. Then China came in, and then I haven't heard what happened after that to those people. They're probably dead. The ones that rebelled are probably dead. So I think they were trying to get them geared up to help in Ukraine. I read that somewhere. So Assange's getting married in prison. Here's all the latest updates of the Ukraine war. Let me see. This one's 33 seconds. I might be able to play it. Are they gonna do that to me, where they keep playing a commercial over and over? Yeah, they are. So I'm not gonna play that. I think this is the first major admission of how taken aback Moscow was by Western sanctions. Yeah, they're sanctioning the crap out of them. Here's the highlights. Really don't want to go into all this. You can pause it and read it. I'm not being super lazy. It's just that there's a lot to go over today. And so you can pause that and read what's the updates on that. I'll probably go back and read it later. And then there's this Who guy. This is the only one you're allowed to play on YouTube. Let me read what you guys are saying. It's a long process. Ukraine was asked to show some kind of evidence showing Russia used chemical weapons. this can't go to world court without evidence. Oh yeah, everything takes so long, doesn't it? Good point, Vijay. Yes. That's a good point. USA suspected that Pakistan sold nuclear weapons to Iran. I wouldn't doubt it. A couple years ago before COVID. There was something about Iran, like they've already got nuclear weapons. Maybe that was the story that I didn't know it was Pakistan, but I had heard that they had nuclear weapons for really a long time. It was more like 5 or 10 years ago, that the one that I heard. It is still unclear that Iran have nukes or not, because there are no solid evidence showing that they have it. Yeah, and whenever that whole thing starts up, I'm gathering some information about, the positioning of these nuclear plants, and I'd really like to look into that more about Iran, because in Isaiah it talks about Lebanon, which they just had that thing in Beirut where there was like a huge thing went off. I don't know if it was a bomb or fertilizer or whatever they want to call it. It looked like a nuke. It was huge. The Bible talks about that area in Isaiah, and then it talks about Edom, and then it talks about, I think, anyway, I'm gathering all that information. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I think something bad's going to happen to Iran before the rapture of the church, possibly. Or it could just happen during the Great Tribulation. So the judgment of the world is like a whole 7-year time period, and then at the end there's a big battle. So it's probably just before the big battle. We just don't know when that, could happen. Or it could happen before Jesus comes. I don't know. All right, the WHO speaks on Ukraine situation, COVID-19, and other global health issues. This thing's like a whole hour long. I'm not going to play that.
In that sense, it's very important for us to remember, and I think Maria said this many times, the DG as well.
Just a minute or so.
The future is in our choice. We have a choice about the future with this virus and with these variants. We may not absolutely control how the virus evolves and how it spreads. We can certainly track it better, so we know early if it is changing.
How are you going to track it? How are you going to know early on if it's changing? How does that work?
But most importantly, what we've learned so far with each and every one of the variants that's come along, that good surveillance, good tracking linked to
surveillance too, huh?
Measures that reduce transmission, but importantly, measures that protect individuals, especially vaccination, lead to a situation where the health system can cope and populations can continue to live their lives as normally as possible.
Thank you very much, both. And we have a question here in which Florence Rodier
I just want to hear that guy. He says some good stuff. I want to hear the Tedros.
And diagnosed.
Is Tedros going to talk? Here he is. Is he going to talk? Live event ended.
Thank you.
To all members of the press, thank you so much for all. And with this, we come to the end of today's briefing. I thank you for joining us, and I hand over to Dr. Tedros for the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Christian. And thank you to all members of the press for joining us today. And see you next time.
That was it, huh?
Are not and should never be a target. We also have concerns around the integrity and safe operation of nuclear and chemical facilities. WHO is working with the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, and we continue to call on all sides to minimize the risk of a nuclear or chemical accident, which could have catastrophic consequences for human health. We continue to call on the Russian Federation to stop the war. Although Ukraine is rightly the focus of the world's attention, it's important that we don't lose sight of the many other crises in which people are suffering. Last week, I spoke about the humanitarian disaster in Tigray, and that WHO is still waiting for permission to send an additional 95 metric tons of medical supplies. Since then, permission has been granted. If we can deliver these supplies safely, they will help people in desperate need. But much more is needed. So far, only 4% of the needs for health supplies have been delivered to Tigray. That is insignificant. The region has been under siege for almost 500 days. With dire
Tigray. Okay, so I was watching a video about Mariupol, and then there was another city that is in desperate straits. They have no water and they have no food. So I don't know if they're like holding back like the people from being able to get it to them or what, but that's not good. USA suspected that Pakistan sold a nuke. I read that. Okay. Oh, that explosion was ammonia nitrate. It is highly combustible chemical used in agriculture. Yeah, in Beirut. What about the white phosphorus that they used to... They used some white phosphorus in Ukraine. That's probably a huge thing going on, right? Alright, so I've been kind of keeping up a little bit of the things that Russia has been cut off from. Now they're not allowed to have a Kit Kat bar. So let's add Kit Kat bar to the list of things that they've sanctioned them about. No McDonald's. No Kit Kat bar now. You took away the two most addictive chemicals, I guess, that's going on in people's body. I mean, they probably got other chocolates, but maybe Kit Kat bar is someone's favorite. Okay, let's move on. Russians attack oil refinery that they own. They own an oil refinery and they attacked their own refinery in Luhansk Oblast. So in Ukraine, Russia owns a oil refinery place. So it is now blown up. It's been attacked. It's owned by Russian oil company Rosneft. According to Luhansk Oblast Governor Siri Haidai, firefighters are fighting a blaze at the site. I think I had a video of that from yesterday, if it's the same place. Alright, there's a book coming out about Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden is warning his staff. Biden warned staff after Kamala Harris' disastrous Guatemala trip that anyone leaking negative stories would be fired, as the VP grew agitated at her portfolio and White House blamed her for falling short of sky-high expectations. The new book claims. The forthcoming account of Joe Biden's first year in office describes the president's relationship with Harris as friendly but not close. Harris's staff were reportedly put off by an impossible portfolio of tasks. His communications director is quoted as privately complaining that the problem lies with the vice president herself rather than her portfolio. Biden has asked Harris with her border crisis, voting rights, and space. Harris is allegedly frustrated with her own political decline and unpopularity. So some book came out about Kamala Harris. I'm sure y'all will hear the down low on that. She has been really unimpressive to me.
Emilio.
We'll see if that sends us another advertisement. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, let's play it then. Wait, where's the volume? Sorry about that. Let me rewind.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come. The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border. There are legal methods by which migration can and should occur. But we, as one of our priorities, will discourage illegal migration. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
That's it. Whoopity-doo-dah. Is that your discouragement for these people? What about the encouragement for these people with your ways of giving them things when they get here? So there's a book. I thought I could see a close-up of the book. Whoops, that's not the... The book is called This Will Not Pass. Trump, Biden, and the... I can't even read that. By Jonathan Martin and Alexander Burns. Some book was wrote about Kamala Harris. Okay. Russian War, Day 28. Russian forces are attempting to envelop Ukrainian forces in the east as they advance from Kharkiv and Mariupol. I think it was actually Kyiv. Maybe I'll come across that story I was telling you about. All right, there are signs of that Russia's war may be approaching a stalemate, which makes Western help all the more crucial. So here's a map in red of the areas that Russia has taken over. Let me see on this map. Here's Mariupol. I thought it was in the west over here somewhere. That there were, like, near Poland. Here you go. We're near Chernobyl. Somewhere in here near Poland, they're not getting water. They're not getting food. I think. I'll have to see if I come across that story. Another Russian kamikaze UAV fell down yesterday. It's obvious that the drone did not work as it should, but nevertheless, it's not clear that it malfunctioned or was shot down by EW systems. Don't worry. They're sending in the kamikaze drones now. Okay, this is France showing up. French elements of the NATO response force have been deployed to Romania. We are on the eastern border of Europe, he says. And we are ready for any contingency that may happen. This is the first time the NRF has been activated for collective defense and deterrence. So they're sending people in as peacemakers. Defense, deterrence, in response to Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. We operate in a multinational framework in order to strengthen NATO forces present in Romania. So I don't know what it's NATO spelled backwards right here, but I don't know. Like, is that another group? I don't know what OTAN is. Unless it's just NATO spelled backwards. Okay, here's something. It's 2 minutes and 34 seconds. I answered the WF question on Saturday in Sudbury. We're not up against WF, but the radical left-wing ideology it espouses. It's seeped into every institution. We're not fighting Klaus Schwab. We're fighting Karl Marx. It's why I'm in the CPC HQ race.
So here it goes. Listen up. All right. I am who I am. I can only say what I believe. I have never been contacted and never had any communications with the WEF. But, no. But our problem is not the WEF. The WEF espouses a hateful, radical, left-wing, socialist ideology that looks to redistribute personal wealth, that looks to erode sovereign nations. But the problem is not just the WEF. Most international institutions espouse the same radical ideology. It's in the UN, it's in the IMF, it's in the World Bank. If we were able to pinpoint and say WEF, all of you would be in good shape. So no, it's not. We're not fighting the WF, we're fighting a hateful, radical, left-wing ideology that now seeped itself not just into international institutions, but local and domestic institutions, into every government, into every boardroom, into every regulator that cancels professionals and will not allow them to speak. Well, the thing is, it's not the nature of the corporation that's the problem. It's the ideology of the day that is the problem. And they've been at it for about 30, 40 years. But in reality, they've been at it for 150 years. I like to say, we're not fighting Klaus Schwab. We're fighting Karl Marx. I come from the former Soviet Union. My family has been fighting Karl Marx for 150 years. This is the current version of this fight. It's happening to us right now. This erosion of our freedoms, this perceived redistribution of property, this state dictate, this happened to my family about 103 years ago today. Which is why if you're from Poland or you're Czech but that's not contained to Eastern Europeans anymore. That's Canadians now. That's everyone now. We need to expose this hateful ideology. We need to confront it head on. We need to not be afraid that we're going to be canceled by it. This is the nature of this conservative race that I'm in right now. I'm not contesting the conservative leadership against Pierre Poilievre or Patrick Brown or Jean Charest. I'm fighting radical left-wing ideology, cancel culture. That's what this race is about. That's it.
That was deep, wasn't it? I want to read you a little something here. 2 Timothy 3, verse 13. Everyone who wants to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution, but evil people and imposters are going to flourish. They will deceive others and will themselves be deceived. But you must remain faithful to the things that you've been taught. You know they're true, for you know you can trust those who taught you. You've been taught the Holy Scriptures from childhood. They have given you the wisdom to receive the salvation that comes by trusting in Christ Jesus. All Scripture is inspired by God and is useful to teach us what is true and make us realize what is wrong in our lives or in the world, It corrects us when we're wrong and teaches us to do what is right. God uses it to prepare and equip His people to do every good work. The words that came into my mind just then as I was watching that was that it will wax worse and worse. That's what the King James says. Like, evil people are going to get more evil, and it's going to continually get worse. So he says they've been fighting Marxism for 150 years. So we're in an age now where it's going to double and evil and violence, and we just have to remain faithful to God, just remain good, and like, no one's good, but you know, do what you know is right. You've been taught what is right, and learn what else is right. Read your Bible and you'll know more about what's right. Okay, we got music. I'm not allowed to play that. I'm not sure if this is just a storm or whatever. Russian invasion of Ukraine, day 28, Chernigov. The road bridge over the Desna, which connects with the city of Kyiv, was destroyed. Oh, that's what this was about. Was a bridge destroyed. There you go. The destroyed bridge. There you go. So they can't get the tanks over and stuff. Ukraine's president says those stuck in the port city are inhumane. Oh, they are in inhumane conditions and under a complete blockade. This is what the one I was telling you about. Pretty sure. Well, there it is. War in Ukraine, 100,000 people are stuck in Mariupol with no food or water. If they had pictures or anything that we could see. So Mariupol's somewhere right down here, I think. Near the Black Sea, maybe. Most frightening thing is the world will forget Mariupol. Those fleeing tell their stories. I think I've got a video about that one. So they do have a lot of drone footage, but they're using the kamikaze drones. Wow, this has got some great stuff on it. If anybody wants to see updates on videos from Sky News on the war, they can go over and watch this. This is a good, wish I could put it in the description for you. I'll try to do that. I've got it copied. As long as I don't copy and paste anything else, I'll still have it. Alright, here's the Switchblade drones. Can't play the music. 100 kamikaze drones as part of a new $800 million military package to help Kyiv fight off Russian forces, also known as the Switchblade. Did you see it come out of the tube? The suicidal drone is a small tactical unmanned system that explodes on impact. They are cheaper than most US-made drones and can also disengage from or abort a mission at any time, while being able to recommit to other targets if needed. Switchblades come in two sizes, according to the manufacturer. AeroVironmental, the Switchblade 300 model weighs about 5 pounds, flies up to 15 minutes at a time, and can be carried in a backpack and deployed by individual soldiers. The single-use drone is capable of cruising at speeds up to 100 km per hour and is fitted with cameras, guidance systems, and explosives. Switchblade 600 weighs about 50 pounds and can fly up for 40 minutes, and is also known as loitering missile that can target armored vehicles. It's not clear which models will be sent to Ukraine amid its conflict with Russia. That has already seen the use of Turkey's Bayraktar TB2 drones alongside other indigenously improvised flying drones designed to target Russia's advancing forces. I hear another dog out there, but it's not ours. Or it might be a chicken barking at me. They make weird noises sometimes. It's been raining. I think that's what it is. I think it's a chicken. Russian invasion of Ukraine. Footage of the launching of a multiple caliber 3M-54 missiles towards the targets in Ukraine from Russian ships. Hold your ears, guys. This is going to probably be loud. Big bad ones. Okay. Here's a 32-second one. You can just see lots of columns of smoke here. I don't know if that's from a drone or if that's from those ships. No, the ones from the ships would be a lot bigger, right? I think the ones from the ships would be a lot bigger. So those are like little neighborhoods. That's not like an industrial complex or anything like that. You know, it makes you wonder, is there stuff under the land there, okay? Just telling you to keep your mind thinking about why those houses. Did they know that there were targets in them? I've not heard anyone coming out saying we're being so strategic. There were military men in those. They used to do that with Israel and like Iraqis. They would be like, oh, we got this many of the, the forces of, the enemy. They don't normally target like houses and stuff in the wars that we have today. Anyway, there's stories of sadness and suffering everywhere, but there's no greater sense of urgency than over the humanitarian catastrophe developing in Mariupol. So this thing in Mariupol, guys, there's stories of people. I would love to, find a couple that are really good to play for you. I could probably play one for you. Let's play her story. It's 1:29.
The bombs over Mariupol drop both day and night. This is as close as we can get to the hell unfolding there. But on the ground, brave civilians are risking their lives to send pictures to the outside world. 780 evacuees from Mariupol arrived in the western city of Lviv earlier. Their stories now one of the few ways for the world to learn the horrors unfolding there. Alina managed to escape 5 days ago.
There are lots of people in Mariupol now. You cannot even imagine how many children are there. There was a 6-day-old and a 3-month-old children in the shelters. There are so many of them. In the neighboring house, 2 little girls became orphans and just watched their father dying, and the neighbors took them in. They are still in Mariupol because they cannot leave.
Alina only learned her apartment had been bombed after seeing this image online. The 4th floor from the top was her home until a few days ago.
The most frightening thing is that the world will forget about Mariupol, that they would talk about us for a day, 2 days, and then Mariupol citizens will be just dying there in the basements.
She's escaped with a message from Mariupol. Don't forget about us.
That almost made me cry. I'm not joking. I have that. Let me just pray for her. And Lord, be with that girl. Be with all the people in Mariupol. Help them to get food. Help them to get water. And help this war to end in Jesus' name. Let there be peace. Lord, you said that we are the restrainer. And so I come against the enemies of destruction and evil. And I ask you, Lord, to bring in your angels and to take out the fallen angels and keep them from causing more problems, and let this be resolved, because he that letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And we're still here, and you're still with us, and your Holy Spirit's with us. Help these people that are in the war zone to get saved in Jesus' name. Amen. I can only watch so much of the war. She's probably right. People will probably forget, but God's watching and he's with them. He's with everyone. Anyone that wants him, he's there for us. 74% of American Christians believe their country's moral compass is pointed in the wrong direction. 74%, guys. Says most U.S. Christians say nation's moral compass pointed in the wrong direction. Some 54% of Americans say they believe in God as described in the Bible. Well, we need 99%. Jesus doesn't want anyone to perish. And some people make salvation a really hard thing when Jesus is the narrow path, but knowing him is finding salvation. So find him and then you get to know him. He accepts you just as you are. China found one of their black boxes from the crash from the aircraft. It was badly damaged, but they found one of the black boxes from the aftermath of that plane going straight down. I wonder who all was on board, if they'll let us know, if it was, people that had jobs that were, well known or something like that. Russian military casualties have surpassed that of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. So more people have died in the military in this on the Russian side than Afghanis that died in the Afghanistan war. That's incredible right there. Okay, this is gonna shock you or something, I guess. I haven't watched this one yet.
Bloomberg's media empire has some advice for you, proles. A few days ago, Bloomberg tweeted this quote: "From selling your car to foregoing chemotherapy for your dog, we have tips on how to beat inflation. So just let your dog die, and you'll save money." Over the weekend, Bloomberg had some more deep insights, and we're quoting, we're not making this up. "Inflation stings most if you earn less than $300,000 a year." Oh, thanks, Bloomberg. "Here's how to deal. Take the bus. Don't buy in bulk. Try lentils instead of meat. Nobody said this would be fun." So what's going on here exactly? Why are they telling us that? Well, there are still geniuses in this country, and some of them posted anonymously on Twitter. Here's what one said, quote, "You're watching a master-level Ponzi scheme. 2020 crash gets laundered through COVID bailouts laundered through inflation laundered through war in Ukraine, the war and its effects on the globe will be laundered through climate change. The perps walk." Man, is that true?
You gotta love Tucker.
In Seattle, he joins us tonight. Hey, Jason.
Okay. So he's telling us inflation is going to hit the roof. Everything's going up. Our dollar isn't going to be as strong as it was anymore. Emmanuel Pastrich talks to us about the credibility of reports that United States has biological weapons in Ukraine. Listen to what he has to say.
It's of course true that Russia, like the United States and other major powers, have a variety of classified biological weapons programs.
Don't those glasses look like something from the German age of, like, Hitler?
But in the case of the Ukraine specifically, what's been going on over the last 3 weeks in this give and take is that Russia has given detailed information, increasingly releasing secret information regarding biological labs in the Ukraine. The United States first denied their existence, then was forced to admit that there were some sort of labs there, and now we're at a state at which Russia is on the verge of, or may have already compromised or obtained these labs themselves. So I think we have to see this as a sort of defensive posturing to say, if biological weapons are used, which could be some sort of virus, for example, which ties in with other things going on in the world right now, that the United States would want to say, well, it was the Russians who introduced this, and rule out any possibility that it had anything to do with the actual biological labs.
We'll leave that up to
actually
that
not so much by the U.S. government
theorist.
as by various private contractors working for the Department of Defense of the United States in the Ukraine. And those labs, the information suggesting that they exist seems pretty credible.
So there's some credible information about the biological labs in Ukraine, and that they're going to go blaming each other when there's something released into the world. This is a reminder that both Mossad and IDF are preparing to strike in Iran. Just a reminder, guys, this could happen. There could be a war in Iran. There could be a war in Taiwan. Just don't get too comfortable thinking, if they tidy things up with Ukraine, that something else isn't going to just pop off now. Because this all is to get everyone on board with the Great Reset and the New World Order. This again was a story about the 45 Russian diplomats that have been expelled from Poland. Wait, let me read it. Poland's special services asked the foreign ministry to expel 45 Russian diplomats. Yeah, from Poland. Some of whom were alleged to be working for the Secret Service under the cover of diplomatic work. So you got spies, Russian spies, Russia spies in Poland. Exclusive Dutch bank ING ends financing for new oil and gas projects. So they're not gonna give financing. Probably Russia. Probably gonna sanction. Because yesterday No, Dutch isn't Switzerland. They were asking Switzerland to stop letting them do their Swiss bank accounts in Switzerland. So now there's some sort of thing going on where they're not going to finance new oil and gas projects, probably to Russia. You can go check it out at Reuters. Okay, thieves reportedly got away with $3 to $5 million worth of jewelry in a smash and grab today in Beverly Hills. Watch this. Action. Middle of daylight. They just go in.
Watch the dog. Oh my god.
Smash and grab.
Oh, look, the dog is running after them.
All the jewelry.
Oh my god. What the
Crazy, huh? Just took $3 to $5 million worth of jewelry. 95, sorry lady, I didn't mean to rip you off a year. 95-year-old Ukrainian woman who lived through Soviet-era famine and World War II said she's never seen anything as horrible as the Russian invasion. Who needs this war? We're Ukraine. We want to live. Independently. Been independent for 30 years. Is she wiping her tears with her sandwich? Let us live independently. We spent 70 years under this yoke. I already showed you the tornado. Okay, what is this? What's going on here? Police cracked down on peaceful protesters this week in Calgary. This is Australia.
Three other officers surround me and pull me back in behind the police line. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, however many of them end up coming in within the span of, I'm talking 5, 6 seconds here.
So they've been protesting in Calgary for a while now. Breaking major damage report after tornadoes passed through the lower 9th Ward neighborhood in New Orleans. Let me see if I've seen this one. Something went wrong, it says. I've shown you some of the footage of that. By allowing men to compete in women's sports, the NCAA is destroying opportunities for women, making a mockery of its championships, and perpetrating a fraud. I just want to see if you guys are saying anything. I think we should thank Biden for oil prices. He's refusing to increase oil production in USA because Trump wanted to do the same. So now Biden wants green energy and people are paying the price. My brain's not working too good, Vijay, on that one. I think that I'm not going to thank Biden for the oil prices. So I think you're being sarcastic or something. You're not going to find me thanking Biden for the oil prices. All right, this Western Pennsylvania company uses waste left behind by old coal power plants to generate electricity that powers hundreds of supercomputers working to mine Bitcoin. We got into this scenario a little bit last night.
As cryptocurrencies explode in popularity, so has the amount of electricity required to mine the digital tokens, which raises concerns about the impact crypto has on the environment. But for Stronghold Digital Mining, a company based in Western Pennsylvania, mining Bitcoin could actually be a way to reduce environmental waste and clean up their community. The company burns leftover harmful waste from abandoned coal mines to generate the electricity that powers hundreds of supercomputers running around the clock to mint Bitcoin. A somewhat imperfect solution to energy generation, but one that mitigates a centuries-old coal waste problem in Pennsylvania.
In Western Pennsylvania, and actually the entirety of Pennsylvania, and we're cleaning up this legacy problem.
More electricity is used annually to create Bitcoin than is used in the entire country of Finland. The electricity usage has ignited a debate about whether the amount of power needed is worth the potential environmental costs.
The Bitcoin mining network itself is a large...
I just realized now, all those times that I've watched Dutch Sense, and he shows these big buildings with these fans on them, That's probably what they're used for Bitcoin, for mining Bitcoin.
Potential environmental costs.
The Bitcoin mining network itself is the largest decentralized computer network in the world, and it's power hungry. So co-locating a Bitcoin mine at a power plant makes a lot of sense.
Beard says there are more than 800 abandoned coal mining sites in Pennsylvania that are overrun with coal ash, the byproduct from burning coal to produce electricity.
Pennsylvania is sort of ground zero for where coal has been mined for more than 100 years. And before 1974, all of that coal waste wasn't required to be cleaned up.
Coal ash can leach into groundwater and pollute waterways and contains heavy metals considered by many to be carcinogens.
This is very personal to me. I grew up on one of these waste sites. I grew up in a community like this. I've seen the despair and degradation that happens over the years. Right now, we're standing on the middle of the waste from the Russellton mining operation. Every ton of this material was brought up from underground. There's roughly 10 million tons of waste here that we're standing on.
Stronghold collects coal ash from the bygone mine and processes it at a waste coal processing facility where it is stored, crushed, and burned to generate the electricity to power the company's Bitcoin mining operation.
And we mine, around 5 Bitcoin a day today, and that number is increasing every day as we increase the number of servers that we're running.
Beard acknowledges that Stronghold's solution to mine Bitcoin using coal waste isn't perfect, as burning coal ash also releases carbon into the atmosphere. Still, he noted that because the existing coal waste is extremely combustible, much of the ash would end up catching fire and burning regardless of collection. Beard says that processing the coal ash removes some of the harmful chemical content. Plus, he says his business has created hundreds of new jobs in the region.
We've made a lot of progress in the past couple of years. And so I'm really proud of what we built. And I think in a way, having the reclamation business and Bitcoin coupled, we're really taking what's a new world, blockchain, crypto, and using that to clean up what's an old problem.
So there you have it. I don't know much about crypto mining, or these supercomputers, but something about Bitcoin mining where they're working out algorithms or something for cryptography in order to keep the blockchain safe or something, as more information. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Hi, Nick. Shalom. Okay. This is a weird world that we live in. I don't understand crypto mining, but I know they say that carbon's not good for things, but it's what we live off of. We need carbon in the atmosphere, and we need fertilizer, but they're going to keep trying to take away our food and everything, and the carbon and all of it. Alright, Russian artillery shelling and airstrikes have set fire to buildings in Mariupol, besieged by Russia for 22 days now. They're in dire straits. We just prayed for them, Nick, and we got to keep praying for these people. Hi, Hot Serbian. Kind of getting a little tired over this. Did you see this? Tornado after it left Texas, Nick. They're popping off last night in New Orleans. I think this might have been... I've got a picture of it over my head. The firing missiles from Sevastopol from the Navy ships. It's kind of pretty with the sunset in the background, but you know what it was doing. It was going to destroy. Okay, trophy Russian command post Kraksuka 4 designed to suppress AWAC's radars and radio reconnaissance satellites. So I thought you might want to see that up close. It kind of looks like a tractor trailer bed or something. Kind of looks like those things in front of the White House, doesn't it? Did you guys see that on January 6th? They had some big old things like this at the White House. Okay, Los Angeles class nuclear attack submarine left San Diego yesterday. So there's a picture of the nuclear subs. They're like, oh, it's leaving. I don't think we're supposed to tell people stuff like that, but it's on Twitter, so. Okay, the other day, I wanted to retract my reporting because supposedly Wally is alive. They said Wally the sniper had died. They're still not giving his face, but I won't be reporting on Wally anymore, or I don't know. Anyway, he's a sniper, and he's alive, and people were reporting that he was dead. But Wally is alive. He's a Canadian elite sniper. And he was one of the ones I was like, wait a minute. If he's a Canadian, what's he doing as a sniper inside of Ukraine? NATO's not gone in yet. So that story's been now debunked, I guess. All right, this was the pastor, Artur Pawlowski. Someone set the church bus on fire. The daycare, it belonged to the daycare parked behind his church. Somebody set it on fire. Isn't that sad? People are so destructive, violent. Okay, Jen Psaki thanks vaccine after testing positive for COVID again. So she's got the COVID again. And she's had the vaccine, and she's saying, thank you for the vaccine. Like, seriously, she's happy about it.
Yesterday, the health minister told committee that the government had...
Oh, this is Canada. They're saying some... I like listening to their parliament. They got some fire.
Plan for every possible policy related to their continued mandates, but he repeatedly refused to share the government's plan to end the mandates, and I want to give him another chance right now. The provinces have shown leadership and are all moving on from COVID mandates. Will the minister tell Canadians on which date the Liberal NDP government will end the COVID mandates?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for his collaboration on the Health Committee. Today we know more about COVID-19 than ever before, and we're in a very different place than we were in March 2020. We have safe, effective vaccines and highly vaccinated population, as well as testing, surveillance tools, and new ways to identify variants of concern and track the spread of the virus. But the future remains certain, and COVID-19 is not over. There are many, many factors at play, and our government is committed to following the science going forward to get out of this pandemic for good.
The Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
And if the parliamentary secretary says the government is going to follow the science, then he should do that, just like the 10 chief medical officers of health have done in every single province in this country. They're all ending the mandate. So we want to know what the benchmarks are. What are the data points that this government is going to use to end the mandate? So they don't need to end the mandates today if they have a plan. But the problem is they don't have a plan. They're putting politics first. They're dividing Canadians, dividing communities. So when will they put politics aside, end the division, look to the science, follow the leadership of the provinces, their chief medical officers of health, and end the federal mandates?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank my colleague across the way for acknowledging that my answer was both thorough and good. I also want to acknowledge that he asked some pretty good questions yesterday on committee, and I thought the answers that the minister gave him were excellent. This is a very complex issue. This is a very, very complex issue. And our government is going to keep making decisions based on the best science. And we also understand that there are two jurisdictions. There are provincial jurisdictions and there are federal ones. The provinces will make decisions accordingly with their health officials, and we will make our decisions based on the science, the exact same science, with our health officials. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, for some reason, I didn't even notice this. But this is not all the way down to the bottom of the screen. And then this can go like that. So that makes it a little more nice, I think. Alright, this one you really don't want to see. The girls are standing there and a car comes in and plows them over. And I don't want to, like, you know, I think I did that quick enough. Did you see it? You have to rewind it. It's like I didn't get the whole, you know, bad part. But they're, you know, they're not dead or anything. They got up. And I'm not sure where that was at either. I just saw a notification for CBN. It says, CBN News, we're closer to the coming of the Messiah than we even realize. So I feel that way too. Okay. Here's these drones that they're sending them. The switchblade ones, or whatever they're called. Soldiers with the Ukrainian 54th Mechanized Brigade received new... Oh, these are different. These are called DJI Mavic UAVs and thermal imagers. So... looks like they got different stuff here. They got scopes. They got the drones. Some of them. Oh, this one down here, I can't tell what that is. I read somewhere, though, that they were sending the switchblade ones. It says Cameo. They're getting some nice stuff. Wish they'd send those to me. I'd like to have a drone. Putin told Europe to pay for their gas in rubles. Yeah, I read that one. Ukraine is the most corrupt nation on the planet Earth. Probably. USA has been funding a Nazi group in the Ukraine for the past 20 years. Yep. I would, Vijay was saying that earlier about the rubles. I would say it's the US, then Israel, then UK, then Ukraine. I don't know. It's like they're all equally corrupt. We just might know more about one than the other. Biden is, I would say the United States is pretty freaking corrupt. They got their fingers in everything. And in China, and I mean, you could just say all of them. Biden is going to get us in World War III. Yeah, you're right. I think so, Nick. I think we're going to get probably nuked. Tells us who and what happened to the nations that go against Israel. Yep. I don't think the USA is in the end times. Something happens to the US. Yeah, I don't know either. I was telling some people last night, like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go home either by rapture or by death, because I love Jesus and my faith and trust is in him. And I think it's the best way to live, is just to be thankful for what you have in these moments, because it could all be gone and just like today or whatever. Be thankful for every little thing and just be blessed. Know that you're in God's hands. But yep, we're gonna get probably destroyed. It's inevitable, I guess. Just so many ways that they've surrounded us. Oh man, Nick, you gotta see the beginning of my video about China too, because a lot of people were caught up with the election and everything. And Devin Nunes, he brought out some things, and the girl reported again on July 2nd. So just like, make sure you watch that little clip that I did in the beginning of this video. This is reportedly video of Chechen members of Ukrainian Sheikh Mansour battalion fighting against Russian forces near Kyiv. So they got the Chechens, the Hezbollah. I'm sorry, that's so super loud. The fighting is like super loud.
قرب ها هيا سريع هيا خليك ترى
You know, they get I think somebody was saying last night $5,000 or $15,000 for coming over here from Syria or Hezbollah from Lebanon or from the Chechens. They get like $15,000 to just, you know, be here doing this war for these people. It's so sick. It says New World Order. Unfounded claims about the New World Order conspiracy theory are discussed after President Joe Biden uses the phrases he spoke about the United States' response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine during an address at Business Roundtable CEO quarterly meeting. Well, I mean, I played it. It's unfounded. I mean, he says... I could go back and look and see what he said on my channel because I did that video right here. It's only 45 seconds.
Significant opportunities to make some real changes. You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
So he wants to unite the rest of the free world in making a new world order. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. Am I reading his thing wrong? You're calling it a conspiracy theory that he said that? Have you guys ever seen this? I'm sure you have. It's Dreams from my real father. And it talks about Obama's life. Oh, wow. I've never got to see it. I'm going to watch that later. So this is Obama's real father. And then that picture showed his other daddy. That they say is his daddy. And then there's a boy that was born that he would never he would never accept him or something as a son. But anyway, there's a story out there. So they're saying this is his dad, but really this is supposed to be his dad, Frank Marshall. So yeah, I want to watch that. All right, here was this missiles that went from the ship Sevastopol just before dark. It's beautiful sunset, but those missiles are like another hand. All right, this was one of the victims in today's attack in Beersheba. Yesterday we reported on a couple of people that died, a couple of women. This is one of the pictures of the women. She was 49 years old and she was a mother of 3. There was a stabbing in Jerusalem yesterday. Or in Beersheba, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's that, and there's just some... Okay, what's this gun? This is a different kind of gun. And they've covered up his face with the, what was that guy's name? Oh, the wife was like stretch arm girl, rubber band girl, whatever. What's his name? Oh, that was a good movie too. The Incredibles. Incredibles. They made him Mr. Incredible. That's a really long gun, isn't it? Is that a sniper, or is that like a silencer or something? Let's see. I'm against, yeah, like I can't say that out loud, Nick, but yeah, I'm against a lot of things that they do. They're not acting in our name. They don't get our permission or our advice. I would be like, no to war, you know? He thinks he'll be head of the New World Order. I don't, yeah, I mean, he might think that, but he didn't like actually come out and say that part. I kind of figured he might, but I was listening for it. I think he might. Gunfire in your ear. Chechens. Jihadis. That's a pretty loud gun right there. I mean, that's... Okay, here it changes a little bit.
Вообще из здания отходим обратно на этой позиции.
So that's pretty much it. We don't even know if they're shooting at people for sure. So Pastor Artur has been he was arrested on February the 8th. His second bail hearing since he's been in jail since February the 8th. He's still in jail. So pray for Pastor Artur Pawlowski. He's going on with having church because, you know, he's a Christian and he wants... they accused him of inciting violence at the border blockade. The whole speech is available online. I dare you to find a single call for violence. This is a political prosecution. So this guy's in Canada and he's been arrested several times because he's like, I'm still going to have church. That's from what I've seen. YouTube suspends RSBN ahead of the Trump rally, but don't worry. you'll get to see the Trump rally on Rumble. Go over to Rumble on, when is it? They're doing it in Alabama. I'm not sure when it is. Sorry. This was posted yesterday. I don't think it says when. So Trump's doing a rally in Alabama. You can watch it on RSBN. Check out this alpaca. It's next to a MLRS rocket booster section at the Kharkiv Zoo. He's probably, well, what the heck are these humans doing? UN is the beast system. I don't know. Like, I think it's part of it, but doesn't it get, like, transferred over to the Sanhedrin or something at some point? They want to take over the UN. The Sanhedrin does. They want to replace the UN. Have you ever heard of a book called Know Your Enemies? No? Let's see. Those are the two I did there. US and NATO believe Belarus could soon join Russia in its war against Ukraine. Thousands of forces prepared to deploy. But Belarus opposition source told CNN the final decision will be made in Moscow. Trying to see when it's supposed to have a decision. Oh, have you seen this thing? Isn't that beautiful? It's not about what Lukashenko wants. The question is, does Putin want another unstable country in the region? Involvement would destabilize Belarus. Officials wouldn't elaborate on how Belarus could intervene in the war, but said it made sense for Russia to try and cut off NATO military and coming into Ukraine from its western border. They're trying to come in from the west. So they're supposed to make some sort of decision about it. Just keep an eye on Belarus, okay? They could join this war soon in Ukraine. Isn't that the... Oh, okay. That's Lukashenko. That's Alexander Lukashenko. I think I'm going to take a screenshot of that one. I gotta learn how to just have a button for a screenshot. And I don't know if you still have to save it or not, but Alexander Lukashenko. He must be Belarus president. Alright, what else did I have here? It says, Ukraine war. Russia can never win a nuclear war. NATO chief warns. As Klitschko says, Ukrainian troops are regaining territory. Oh, this was the one where I was saying, just like, go ahead and go there on Sky News. Let me just copy paste again. I'm going to put that in the description. I want to go watch it. And I want to watch that one on Obama. Oh, this guy. Okay, I don't know why I got this one skipped, but at least I had it pulled up. I think this will be the last one, then I'm done. I wouldn't want 25 biolabs on our border either. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it? Like, I think they're going to release something. The nukes, the biolabs, and then the chemical weapons, NATO going in on when they do something against Article 5 or whatever. We're going to see NATO go into Ukraine, I think, and try to take Russia out. Rumble, Gag, Getter, so many new platforms. Thank God for these other platforms, because, you know, I'm not going to say anything about that right now. Anyone here know who Myron Fagan is? No. Have you ever heard of Mylon Lefevre? I don't know Myron Fagan. Exposed the Illuminati in 1967. Is that right? Is it Myron Fagan? Exposed the Illuminati, or are those two different things? Know Your Enemies by Colonel Jack Moore. Make it big. Colonel Jack Moore. Myron Fagan. I've never heard of either one of those guys. I like anybody who exposes the Illuminati, though. Alright, here's this guy. So you're going to get in trouble, though. I'm not encouraging people to stop the robbers, but it looks like he's got him by the balls right there. I thought that was an arm. I thought he had him upside down completely, but that's a leg? He's got him by the balls.
Here's a song about a brawny...
Oh, hold on. Let me find the sound. Oh, I can't mute it like that. Here it is. Sound. Okay. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay. Where's the sound now? Okay, here. Okay, I got the sound up. Let me make it big. Hopefully I can just hit play. You ready? Here's the finale.
What appears to be shoplifting at Walgreens isn't exactly uncommon these days in the Bay Area.
Putting on his backpack.
But what is?
Wait for this guy to walk out with all this stolen stuff. Oh, can we film?
A man who requested we only use his first name of Kevin, taking matters into his own hands.
This is a time.
Hero. He took matters into his own hands. I've not seen this yet. Ready?
You can make an impact. Make this happen. I see some from leaving. The
Sorry. I got one more video to show you, okay? After this. Don't leave, okay? I got one more video. I played it at the beginning. If you've seen it at the beginning, it's like after my China story. Then you can, like, you're dismissed if you want. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to play that one more time because it's hilarious. It's a Karen man.
Store and then threw him to the ground.
The incident, which happened on a Saturday afternoon, quickly escalates.
I'm waiving you and I'm placing you under citizen's arrest.
The struggle ensues for more than 2 minutes.
Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
Kevin can be heard asking bystanders to call police and also blames the man for increasing prices.
You did something to me. You're making these prices go up.
The suspect then starts yelling out to a friend.
Pablo! Pablo!
He kept calling for his friend, and I thought he was fibbing.
But he wasn't. And moments later, a sedan pulls up. A man in blue walks toward the store.
And he came behind me and tried to get me into a headlock.
That's your boy?
Then I picked him up by the groin and threw him to the ground.
Kevin loses his shoes during the struggle. Both suspects run to the getaway car nearby.
Should I record the car?
Alameda police tell me if you witness a crime and can record it safely, then great. But to get involved can open yourself up to litigation. Plus, if a business doesn't cooperate with the investigation, is it worth inserting yourself?
I could have been charged with assault, and I may be charged with assault. It's infuriating. We all kind of are realizing Northern California, little soft cities like this.
According to police, the stolen merchandise was recovered and Walgreens did not seek prosecution. The big question for Kevin?
Would you do this all over again if you had the opportunity?
My mom will kill me. My friends will kill me. Yeah, I'd do it all over again.
Awesome, dude.
In Alameda, Dion Lim, ABC7 News.
Good job.
Good job. We weren't ready to afford a house, but Realtor.com was life-changing.
Okay.
I had no idea that your mortgage could be less than your rent.
I'm not saying anybody should do that or anything, but bravo, guy. You took the matters into your own hands. You're gonna check out the Fagin video after this? Okay. Alright, let me play you one more thing real quick. Let me find it real quick. Okay. Oh, I didn't play you the Veritas video? Oh wait, no, that wasn't the Veritas video. I don't think I played the Veritas video. There was a Veritas video. I think I missed one. Okay, but I'm gonna play you the funny one. There's the Veritas video. Okay, let me play this. It's only 34 seconds.
Learned today, long before that raid, prosecutors already had access to Project Veritas's email system. They sent a subpoena to Microsoft, essentially tapping into the system. And then they slapped Microsoft with a gag order so nobody could find out. Do you think most journalists would be curious about what's inside this diary? They would be if it was Ivanka Trump's diary. So where's the Associated Press? Where's the New York Times? Where's CNN? Learned today, long before that raid, prosecutors already had access to Project Veritas's email system.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I thought it was important. I didn't play this one either. This one's a minute. I missed a few here, guys. Let me play this one.
They spent a lot of time on this specific issue of an 18-year-old from Washington who the sentencing guidelines would have called for an 8-year sentence. The prosecutors recommend...
This is the Supreme Court lady. So I played 2 of these videos, but I didn't play this one.
...a 2-year sentence, and Judge Jackson imposed a sentence of 3 months. And so there was some discussion about why she did that. I've looked at the records in this case, and I think apparently Judge Jackson just doesn't recall this case, and that's understandable. She had many sentencing and something like 500 court decisions. But the specifics in this case suggest that this was an 18-year-old who was curious about this kind of sexual activity that he sought out. The court records show that a detective, when he realized that this young man was uploading some of this, contacted him and said, how would you like to have real sexual activity with my 12-year-old daughter, which was make-believe, and this young man never responded to him. And there was a psychiatrist who evaluated the young man and said this was basically his sort of curiosity about a specific kind of sexual activity. He wasn't interested in younger people. He was just sort of curious about this for his own purposes, that he was not a pedophile. So those were the kinds of things, apparently, that Judge Jackson took into account in that specific case that Senator Hawley spent a lot of time on.
Well, you know, the news agencies are going to do whatever it takes to get that lady in. And it was more than one thing. Did I go over this one? I didn't go over this one either. All right, Linda Freaky. Wow, what a name. Freaky? 73-year-old grandmother carjacked, beaten, and lynched by 4 teenagers in New Orleans. This is, she's a grandma. Here's these teenagers. I think there was a video. Yeah, here they come. Beat up a grandma. 73-year-old woman. Look at them pounding on her. Pulled her out of the car. Still beating on her. Oh. They don't show the rest of it. So that's just, you know, what's going on with these
Monday afternoon, Austin
kids.
Northcott knew something was wrong in his mid-city neighborhood.
I heard screaming, like a
like you're about to die sort of scream, like one you don't hear. It's just not a normal scream.
Those screams were from a 73-year-old woman across the street who police say was carjacked and dragged to death by her own SUV. Witnesses say it happened when a vehicle pulled up next to her parked SUV on North Scott Street.
It's just heartbreaking to see that.
Witnesses say the woman was caught in her seatbelt and dragged as her SUV sped off on Bienville Avenue, just steps away from Mark and Leanne Mascar's front door.
I just started screaming and running because I just wanted to get this person from this car. And if I could do that, I could help this person.
Police say the woman's arm eventually detached from her body on North Pierce Street, freeing her from the SUV. Neighbors ran over to try and help.
She was still breathing. She was very slowly breathing.
I tried to call 911. Unfortunately, the phone rang for over 4 minutes and 45 seconds before I hung up from 911.
Todd Ecker says someone eventually got through. Mascar says it took 10 to 15 minutes for paramedics to get there.
She's still breathing. I could feel a pulse. And the anger was like, where the hell is the ambulance?
It's so fun.
We were there and I kept hearing loads of police.
It's so user-friendly, and they have so many...
Where'd that come from?
Cars turn up but no ambulance.
When it did, paramedics pronounced the woman dead, leaving folks in this neighborhood horrified and police searching for 4 suspects.
They didn't just see the car, they murdered someone today.
I mean, it's Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not, everybody's out getting lunch, not worried about, whether or not they're gonna live or not.
It was one of the most grotesque, surreal, horrific things I've ever seen.
Tore her
Complete
arm off?
recklessness, abandon, no regard for human life.
About 15 blocks away, on the corner of Dumaine and North Dupree, police found the SUV abandoned in the Bayou St. John neighborhood. 2 crime scenes, adding to a growing list of deadly violence in New Orleans.
In the end, it's just the criminals that are ruining it for everyone who lives here.
There is something really wrong when you have to walk outside your house and that is part of your day, that some woman is getting dragged down the street.
Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.
Golly. Dragged down the street, and then it sounded like her arm came off. Her arm was stuck in the seatbelt around 1:30. They ran out. The lady was trying to put something in her vehicle. The guy jumped in and kicked her out. She got caught in the wheel. Ugh. Screaming and screaming. Is that her? Oh, she baked cakes.
And so I'm told that Linda was an amazing woman and that she was just leaving from her job at a nearby insurance company when she was carjacked and ultimately killed. Tonight I actually spoke with family members who tell me they're just devastated.
It's disgusting. You have a 73-year-old woman just at her job, putting things in the car. They drug her. No forethought. Dismembered her. Why? And she was just a good person.
Family members react to the news of one of the latest murders to happen here in the city. 73-year-old Linda Fricky dying after being carjacked in the 300 block of North Scott in Mid-City. NOPD officials say 4 suspects took her vehicle, speeding off while she was still in a seatbelt. Take a look. Police released video of the suspects late Monday night.
She'd help anybody off the street. She would have gave them the car if they'd have just gave her a chance to step away.
She was dragged for more than a block before being dislodged from the car. Her arm severed during the incident. Neighbors helplessly trying to stop the vehicle.
I got out of my vehicle, screaming at him, "Stop, stop, you're dragging someone." He took off with the vehicle, still dragging her with reckless disabandonment. No care for human beings at all.
Family members say Fricky was leaving her job at Security Plan Insurance, where she sold life insurance, when it happened.
She was coming out of her office building, putting something in her car, or getting in her car. She got tangled in the seatbelt because they didn't give her time to get out.
She was the kindest, the best person. It's a hole in all of our lives that we'll never get back.
Aww.
She just will be deeply. That's all I could really say.
She
now instead of welcoming
like
their
my great aunt. All right, I'm sorry. I had to pause that for a second. It's like
sister home from a day at work. They're grieving her tragic death.
It's disgusting. When it's gonna stop? you know, and that's what they target, old ladies. That's just cowardly. That's evil. The parents.
I agree.
The parents need to be held accountable.
Now, I'm told that Fricky was
they're
one of 7
teenagers.
children. She
Man,
actually
that gave
had
me
5
chills.
sisters, sons, and at least 3 grandchildren. Such a terrible situation. Now, when it comes to the vehicle, they were actually able to find the vehicle, NOPD, but of course, officials are still looking for the 4 suspects involved. With that being said, if you do have any information about the situation, you're being urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 822-1111. Reporting
She's never gonna, those 3 grandchildren are never, here's some pictures of them. No, that's not them. Some of them look black to me. This is talking about a school shooting. That's not the same story. I guess that story stops somewhere in here. Or they go on to talk about that story. Arrested after fatal carjacking. Wow, guys, people are really just no morals. No morals. We keep seeing this, don't we? Okay, I was going back up here to, oh, did I talk about the chicken pox? South Carolina chicken pox outbreak? Yeah, I did. Disney employee, I talked about that one. Oh, here he is. All right, here's the last one. That's what happens when you take God out of schools. That's right, Serbian. All right, here we go. This is a Karen man. Tell me if you think he's a Alex Jones watcher, or do you think he's really, are there people out there like this? I played this at the beginning, around the beginning, playing it at the end, and I love you all. Thank you for coming and everything. You're not gonna believe this guy.
War with Ukraine and Russia. If we had a nuclear war, it would be worth it if it could just save one life.
Nuclear war, if it could save one life.
Is to get vaccinated while supporting Ukraine in the fight. And that is your social responsibility. Everybody. One of the people I look up to, who I've begun to love, is Klaus Schwab. And he said by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. And I stand with him because I am not selfish. And those who stand against it are selfish. My closing statement, my only regret is that I didn't stop Breonna Taylor's killers. I still remember like it was yesterday. I was shopping at Target in the Pride section looking for a shirt for my 6-year-old openly gay transgender nephew after I got off work at Starbucks where I'm a barista. But at least I know that I was helping the LGBTQ community while Breonna Taylor was killed. Every night I lay on my pillow and I pray that Dr. Fauci will make the vaccine for white supremacy. I hate myself!
Thank you. That's your time. Appreciate it. Well,
I'm gonna take a knee for George Floyd.
yeah. Could you do that over there so we can get the next person? Thank you. Okay. If we could, so we'll take like a 5-minute break and wipe all that down. So it's 8:13. We'll be back.
Down. All right. So tell me what you think. Is he for real? Is there really boys like that? Is there really men? I would call him a man. Are there people like that? that really could stand up in front of a group full of people and talk. I have my doubts that that's for real, really. Yeah. So, thank you all for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you have a beautiful... It was an act. I think so. That's confirmation for me. I hope you have a beautiful day. And hope I get to see you again tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'll come on tomorrow, but if something hilarious comes on like that again, I won't be able to stop myself. Love you guys. Thank you for coming. They're all actors. Hi, K King. Well, I'm trying to get this. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Love you guys.